Notice is hereby given, actually, good evening. First. Notice is hereby given that the mayor and the city council of the city of Nogales will meet in regular session Wednesday, October 3rd, 6 p.m. in the City Hall Complex Council Chambers. I call this meeting to order. Please turn those cell phones off. We have a rule here, if the cell phone turns on, you buy lunch for everybody tomorrow morning. Mr. Barcenas, was that your phone, sir?
No, it's not.
Because I'm sure you can afford lunch for everybody. We'll call this meeting, I call this meeting to order, and please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for invocation. Madam Clerk.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. The deacon here for invocation. Deacon Alberto Andrade. Thank you, sir.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of His Holy Spirit be with you all. We stand before you, Holy Spirit, conscious of our sinfulness, but aware that we gather in your name. Come to us, remain with us, and enlighten us in our hearts. Give us light and strength to know your will, to make it our own, and to live with our lives. Guide us by your wisdom, support us by your power. For you are God, sharing the glory of the Father and the Son. You desire justice for all. Enable us to uphold the rights of others. Do not allow us to misled by ignorance or corrupted by fear or favor. Unite us to yourself in the bond of love and keep us faithful to all is true. As we gather in your name, may we temper justice with love, so that all our decisions might be pleasant to you and earn the reward promised to God, our faithful servants. You live and reign with the Father and the Son, one God, forever and ever. Amen. May gifts of God unite us in faith, hope, and love, now and forever. And may Almighty God bless you all, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon. Thank you very much. See you. Item number 4, call to the public, and I believe I have one, Patricia Lopez.
Yes.
Please, state your name and your address for the record.
Yes. My name is Patricia Lopez, and the address is 135 East Grand in Nogales, Arizona. Good evening, Mayor Garino, and the city council members, and everyone present this evening. The reason that I'm here is that I represent the Nogales Santa Cruz Chamber of Commerce. I'm chairwoman for the Department of Tourism. I have been working as a volunteer for several years now. And what I wanted to show, and you should be receiving, and you should have an invitation already with you, is a FAM event that's going to be taking place here in Nogales. You're welcome to go to the Chamber of Commerce and pick up one of the invitations, and I'll explain to you what a FAM event is. It's a familiarization event. This is going to be held the 20th of October. It'll be starting in Tubac. We're going to be working south on 919. The final destination after we have a city tour will be at the Guevavi Ranch. The purpose of this event, which is very important, is to promote and invite people from all the state of Arizona that are hospitality professionals, concierge, certified tourist ambassadors, all the members of the Chamber of Commerce throughout Arizona. The people that are participating are members of the Chamber of Commerce and tourist organizations throughout Santa Cruz County. And what I'll explain is what the purpose of a FAM tour is. It's to bring tour operators to Nogales and Santa Cruz County to witness what the community has to offer. Tour ambassadors will experience our destination firsthand and in turn will better relay information to their clients when they return back to their place of business in Arizona. This is a very valuable tool because they will disperse information, positive information, to very large numbers of people throughout the United States and outside the United States. It's going to enforce positive publicity about Santa Cruz County. We want to make sure that they're up to date on the information so that they in turn will sell and promote Santa Cruz County and the surrounding community here in southern Arizona. This information is going to be forwarded throughout the United States, like I said, and outside the United States. The reason why I am involved and I'm a volunteer with the Department of Tourism is because I've had experience for over 25 years in promoting corporate and individual tours, travel. I've traveled to different parts of the United States, always promoting. I'm a native of Nogales. I believe in Nogales. I believe in this community. If not, I would not be doing this. On the 14th of September, Friday, I visited with Mayor Garino. He invited me to his office, and we discussed about the negative publicity that we have been receiving and how we can make it from a positive image that we have here to something so productive and how we can promote tourism. And that's when I extended an invitation to him and explained what the Department of Tourism at the Chamber is doing and has been working on. And you did agree that it was a great project, yes. And we discussed how we can work together. And as you can see, the invitation includes the logo from the Chamber and the logo from the City of Nogales. Since June of 2012, $25,000 was approved by the City Council so that we could work together and we can promote tourism. And we've been working on this contract. We haven't received a response in regards to how this amount was going to be dispersed. And Mrs. Ainsa Kramer, president of the Chamber, she prepared a draft regarding this contract on the 23rd of September after not hearing a response since June. Sent it to Mr. Dilly so that it could be reviewed for legal amounts and amounts. So what she had indicated is that the amount of the $25,000 that was approved could be dispersed in quarterly payments beginning on the 1st of July, the 1st of October, the 1st of January, and final disbursement amount was on the 13th of April. To this day, zero amount has been paid. We're having this event on the 20th of October. The announcements have been distributed. We have contacted the Arizona State Parks. We have contacted the Whipple Observatory, the Tumacacori National Park, all the departments of tourism in Santa Cruz County, and I believe maybe that this is the first time that they have agreed. We have attended meetings. Olivia has been going one direction. I have been going different directions. We have been doing this for months and months and months, promoting and taking out the negative feelings and the publicity that we have been having. The hotels are willing to give us the best rates. They're even willing to help us in having an exhibition. It's going to be a trade show following the tour. We're gonna have different guest speakers. We're gonna have exhibition tables. Everybody is for it, but we don't have a penny, not one penny to go ahead and pay for this event. We have people that we have contracted that we have to give a deposit to. By this Friday, if we do not receive any money towards this event, Olivia and I personally are going to have to call all the departments of tourism throughout Arizona that are very involved, and we're gonna have to cancel this event that we have been working so much for this amount that we had already gone and had been approved. The worst message that we could do now is that we're promoting and to call them and tell them that we cannot have this event. And this is the reason why I am here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As you know, you're out to the public, and we can't really answer the questions, but I'm sure Mr. Dooley heard that, and members of the city council, and we would be addressing this.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I do believe that I could justify a response in that there was some criticism brought forward, which I accept willfully. The fact is true that there has not been an exchange of dialogue between Ms. Kramer and myself since September 23rd. I can't take sole responsibility for that, but that is a fact. On September 23rd, Ms. Kramer did send a proposed contract to my office. And between September 23rd and today, there have been email exchanges between Olivia and myself on concerns that I have expressed relative to the proposed use of that money, which at this point, in addition to the annual membership that the city has already paid to the chamber, amounts to something in the neighborhood of $18,500 or $600. I will let the council know and Ms. Lopez know that yesterday a counter proposal from the city was processed through the legal department, and that about 2 hours ago now I've sent that proposal to Olivia. In my email to Ms. Kramer, I encouraged her to perhaps meet with me on Friday or Thursday of this week with the hopes of getting that contract in front of you as a council at your October 10th meeting. So I think things are moving. I can't speak to commitments that the chamber has made without the money in hand. I think it was known since June that money would not be distributed without a contract in place. So hopefully on October 10th, when that's brought before you, it can be approved, and assuming that that's done, I'll make sure that finance has a check ready to go in the amount proper per the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Dooley.
Can I just make a comment? Like I mentioned, that we have this Friday to
Yes,
get
but we have our
involved
next
and
council
cancel.
meetings on the 10th.
Good. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 5, Mayor and Council's report on current events. Mr. Diaz, would you please begin this?
Okay, we did quite a few things over the month of September. We'll start out with the most important ones. September 11th, we had the September 11th ceremonies in front of the City Hall. There was quite a few people there. Should have been more people there to commemorate 9/11. So, but it turned out very good. It was very well presented by the city, by our mayor. It was well done. September 15th, I went to the State of the City address in Nogales, Sonora, and it was fun. I had a good time with the mayor across the line. And September 16th, 17th, all that week, I attended all the celebrations, so I'll leave it at that. It was fun. Had a real good time. My wife joined me and had a blast. September 17th, went to the September 17th or 16th, went to the Nogales Sonora mayoral inauguration. few of us went. It was interesting. It was fun. The 21st, we had the POW MIA celebration in front of the honor wall, in front of City Hall. There was a proclamation by our mayor. ROTC was there, Junior ROTC presented the Missing in Action table. It was a good ceremony. There was a few people there too for that. Sunday, the 17th of September, we had a fundraiser in joint with St. Andrew's Church and the VFW co-sponsored in a fundraiser for operations for children with cleft palate. And they brought in the group that participated from Obregón in their 16th of September celebrations. It turned out very, very nice. A lot of people went. Everybody left happy. It was a good event. Hopefully they raised a lot of funds. And their goal was to raise enough money for one child to get operated. This past Sunday, we had the Gold Star Mother's Day event at the VFW. Mayor Garino did a proclamation, and there was a few people there. It was very good, and I'll let the mayor comment more on that right now when it's his turn to talk about this. I also went to the job fair September 27th at the Americana Motel. There was a few people there. As far as I know, 75 people put in applications for work, which I think was not good. As far as all these people that are out of work and everything, and only 75 people put in an application for a job. I mean, and there was a lot of different companies there. Hansel Phelps, CenturyLink, Santa Cruz County schools, the city of Nogales. Everybody had tables there, and only 75 people put in for an application for work. So, and that's all I got.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Mr. Halician?
Ditto on some of them. I didn't do as much as Councilman Diaz, but I did some of them. Also, on a sad note, I think everybody knows by now that Jake Brown died, and he was well known, and he was also our Santa Claus. And hopefully he's in everybody's prayers. And on a happy note, at least I do know that they were going to employ 770 workers for the movie that they're filming here in Nogales. And I do understand, I think the mayor will be there, and he will be are you going to be an American lawyer or a Mexican lawyer?
I don't know. What do you think?
You'll be coming out as an attorney.
But they haven't said what race.
Yes.
Probably American.
Yes, I don't know if anybody else will be coming out, but I do know you will be coming out, and I know your wife, Kathy, will be coming out also. And I think that's all I have to add.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. Mr. Parada?
Yeah, I attended the job fair that morning up to the afternoon. It was very slow, and it was really targeted for the veterans, but it was for everybody else that needed a job or guidance to get a job. Everybody was there, had different booths, even giving information to anybody that wanted to get started in some kind of work. And I also I was invited to the ROTC program at Rio Rico tonight because I wanted to say a few words there to open a kickoff for this year. And we're holding a cemetery tour November the 10th at the cemetery, and there will be sections with in each section we'll have the names of the people that are buried in each section, so they can guide you to the gravesite that you want to visit. So that's going to be very interesting. That's by the museum from our local museum, historical society. They're sponsoring it. And I went over to, I had a good conversation with the congressman behind 15-20 minutes. Him and I got together, and we talked legends about the problems that we have here with IUI and so forth. Yeah, he's willing to back us up and everything. And I saw the debate. It was very interesting. The debate for the congressional district. And in the 16th of September, I also did attended that memorial kickoff out there across the line at the auditorium. So,
thank you, Mr. Parada. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Lucas?
Yes, I attended the State of the City event also in Nogales, Sonora.
I also attended the inauguration of the new mayor from Nogales, Sonora, the Fiestas Patrias event at Pleasure Park, the Nogales Night Out, the POW at the National Recognition Day, the Gold Star event at the VFW, it was a good event, and a concert that I was invited by the Consulado Americano, and I'm going to take the opportunity to invite everyone to the Young Talent event that we're going to have free of charge Friday at the Nogales Auditorium. You're all invited.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Felix?
Did on the inauguration, and we had an EBT meeting on last Thursday, excuse me, and we're having our health fair. And we were the first. Can you help me on that, Lieutenant?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, it was a good meeting. The turnout was great. We have planned for November 1st as a target date for our health fair. It'll be at Fletcher's Park. We're going to try to do an outside theme this year. We also put in flyers in our mailers and our checks so that people are aware that we'll be offering free flu shots again this year. But we're asking for people to call in and advise us if they're going to take the shot. Because last year we paid for about 100, only 2 or 3 people showed up. So we're hoping to get a better show this year for the flu shots. They're available free of charge, and we're going to have booths from the same people that we had last year. There'll be giveaways, and there'll be food and fun for everyone.
Thank you. Everybody's invited?
Yes, it's just for the employees and their families.
That's about it.
Thank you, sir. My running list is Wednesday, September 5th. I attended a meeting with a lot of nonprofits and a lot of organizers in the city of Nogales on workforce development, economic growth in Santa Cruz County. On September 11th, we had the Remember Cemetery ceremony at City Hall in the morning, and I also attended the San Felipe de Jesus Church ceremony, which was very nice also. I had a meeting with Mr. Tito Baugh and Yvonne Irwin, and that's in reference to the Mingus Memorial that we're building in the corner of Bejarano and Western Avenue, the public-private fund Green Park area. On September 14th, I was in the Mexican consulate, and I want to say that one of our consul, Mrs. Lopez, received the Otley Award by the Mexican consul, and that award is given to a person that works directly with both countries, binational, and does the best work they can do for the community, and that's awarded by the Mexican consulate, and it's actually a very distinguished award, and I want to congratulate you. On the September 16th, I was present at the oath of office, toma de protesta, Licenciado Ramón Guzmán, Nogales, Sonora. On September 18th, I attended a meeting with members of staff here at City Hall, the residents from Culver Street and Fraser, in reference to the issues on the streets, and it was very positive. And they just wanted to know exactly the work that we're doing in that area and the timelines. So we had some key staff members there from Public Works and Mr. Dilly and Mr. Kissinger, and it was a very, very good meeting. On September 20th, we had the Nogales Night Out event, our 4th annual. On September 21st, we had our 2nd annual POWMIA ceremony at City Hall, which was very good. The turnout was great. I'm very happy for that. On the 23rd through the 26th, I represented the city of Nogales, part of a panel at Tempe at the ASU on the strength of our 21st Century Border Initiative, which is realizing the economy of the great state. So it was very positive. That is a huge event comparing to, but we're going to be having one ourselves on November 9th here in Nogales at the Americano, which everybody's invited. That's going to be our 1st annual event. On the 26th, the U.S. Department of Commerce Economic Development session, Mr. Dilly and Mr. Kissinger and I attended in Phoenix, which was very positive also. It had to do with trade and transportation. On the 17th, Councilwoman Menendez Lopez, myself, and the Consul Mexicano Pasipuente, another representative, we gave the trophy to the winning team, the soccer team, here at City Hall. And then the other two were very close, and I never made it. No, but it was a great event. This month was a very busy month, as you can see, for the majority of the City Council. But I also have three announcements. These are announcements for the future, and it's very good that we're here because it's important for the whole community. We're in the planning stages right now for celebration on October the 25th in downtown on Moreland Park for the 130-year anniversary of the railroad system connecting Nogales, the United States, and Nogales, Nogales, Sonora, Nogales, Arizona. And that's going to fit in perfect with us because of the centennial, and we're going to reenact when both engines met, the Nogales Ferromex and the Union Pacific, right on Park. The exact picture exists in our history that happened 130 years ago. That's what started Nogales. That was the beginning of Nogales. So we're going to reenact that, and it's perfect. And we're having logistical meetings right now with Union Pacific to be able to accomplish that on that day. On November the 9th, like I mentioned, we're going to have the Santa Cruz County and City of Nogales SEGO. It's called the Supply Chain Summit Conference, and it's in trade. We're inviting people from all the way from Sonora, all the state of Sonora to Sinaloa, and everybody north of here to come and display their goods and the opportunities for growth and also opportunities for possible manufacturing companies coming to Nogales. And then we've already set the date, which is the first Saturday always of December 1st, for our Christmas light parade. This year's theme is also staying with the centennial, and this year's theme is the Christmas then and now. And I'm glad some of the students are here, because I'm going to be going to all the schools so that we can select what decade of the 100 years you would like to get your float in, so that we can have good participation for that day for our Christmas light parade. And this year, the Grand Marshal is going to be a local historian, and our Grand Marshal this year will be Mr. Axel Holm for the Christmas light parade. Thank you very much. Item number 6, consent agenda, items from A through C. Thank you very much. Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? You guys have it. Item number 7, discussion, update on paving projects via Coronado. Mr. Dilly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. If I could have Mr. Barcenas come up, we'd like to update the council on the paving effort on the Coronado subdivision area. As you can appreciate, when we go into these projects at the beginning of the year thinking that we were going to be able to do most of the work in-house, and that doesn't turn out the way that it does, we anticipate we have to look at other options. As we updated the council at our last meeting, we're reaching out to the JOCs, the job order contracting with the city of Tucson, and the contractors that they have on their short list. We've reached out to a preferred select list of those contractors, and Mr. Barcenas is here to update the council on the results of that effort and some options that we're looking at this point.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you. We received 2 proposals from 2 contractors to do the paving on Coronado subdivision. As you know, the budget that we had was intended to do a big portion of the job in-house. So the proposals that we received are over the budget, of course, because they are going to be doing the whole thing. So we are reviewing what they are proposing and kind of reviewing the scope of work and making sure that that we can afford and find the monies that we need to do this. But we believe that we can start moving in that project in the next couple of weeks. So we have key A&G and these excavating proposals. Both contractors are ready to go as soon as we give them the contract to go ahead and start moving. That's where we are right now. We have everything in place, is just reviewing how we're going to proceed with the contracts.
Mr. Dilly, in reference to this issue, I recommend that if we bring it in on our next council meeting on the 10th. Could that be possible?
What would you like to discuss on the 10th?
To proceed with it, if we can.
Job order contracting, one of the beauties of it is that because it's been vetted through another local government, we don't need to have contract approval by the city council.
No, but I mean the funding.
On the funding side, I believe the council's already authorized and earmarked monies from capital projects to go towards paving.
You have all of it?
I believe we did that during the budget process.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we did. We're just trying to identify what projects are we going to have to move and prioritize. And you gave us authorization to spend some money on paving projects in general. So what we would be doing is putting this project as a part of that, and going to Mr. Dilly's office and making sure that we have all the funding that is needed for this project to move ahead.
I think this is a good opportunity to bring the council, up to speed on where we're at from a budget standpoint.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe we can do that tonight so that you understand kind of where we're happening. Tell me the budget amount that we have for the project on paving right now. 400 and something thousand?
For the Coronado?
Yes.
Yeah, we have $400,000.
Is it 400 or what is it?
$408,000. I think that's what we had.
Okay. And what was the low quote on the JOC to just do everything?
To do the whole thing, the lowest quote was $849,000.
Now, when we went to get these quotes, we quoted it in a way so we had options. And one of the reasons why we're not ready tonight to pull the trigger on the project, because some of those options allow us some discretion in how we move forward. I'll give you an example. We've reached out to the county, we've reached out to ADOT in terms of seeing what kind of in-house resources that they have. Because one of the things that we did in this quote is we said, okay, how much is it just to pave? Assuming that everything's fine on the base, how much is it just to pave? So we have that number. How much if we ask you to remove the asphalt and replace? How much if we ask you to come in and remove the base and the asphalt and replace? And so, to the extent we can trim that number down, that's what we're wanting to do before we commit ourselves. But we understand that there's a clock ticking against us, and we want to get this project done. So I know that staff met today, and they met with legal, they met with the finance department to discuss some of these options, and they resolved that in part some of that money that was earmarked previously for the pedestrian overpass. Remember we talked about moving that money into paving some of our roads. That money's available, and we could tap that and add it to the budget that we already have and get the project done. So it would only use about half of that money, so the other half could be used on some of the other projects that we're going to talk to you about as well, and we can move forward. That's an option in the worst case scenario. So unless there's serious questions on the table from the council relative to this particular project and the direction that we're trying to go. At this point, we would just try to wrap up some of the loose ends on this thing. We apparently have two contractors with their engines running and ready to get started on this as soon as we can get a contract in place. We have boiler contracts, so it really shouldn't take very long for us to get a contract out to the contractor and signed and ready to go. So I think realistically, turning dirt out there, not really turning dirt, but getting the asphalt taken care of within the next couple of weeks is a very realistic projection. We do have tomorrow coming into Nogales a contractor, a pavement tech contractor we used on a couple of other projects where they're going to go do core samplings along Coronado project, along Bankart, along Mendiblis, so that we really know what's going on under the pavement, because that's really critical, and that could shave off a lot of money on the Coronado project if we don't have to touch the base. If they do the core samples and they say that the base is intact and the integrity is there, then maybe all we're really dealing with is a mill to top and replace, and we don't have to really mess with the base any. So they're going to come out tomorrow. We're going to pressure them to get the results back as soon as possible. But those are some, kind of the balls that we're juggling right now and trying to get this project done. But I think we're making a lot of progress, and we have a funding solution even in the worst case scenario.
Thank you. Any questions from the members of the council? Thank you very much. Well, you want to stay up there for the next item? Or
Yeah, for the,
it's the item number 8, update on street maintenance projects.
yes, yeah, I don't know, do you remember last meeting, I presented you a list of projects that we were kind of classifying and see what kind of work we needed to do on the streets. This is a follow-up on that, and I just want to make sure that that there's no confusion in this thing. There are streets that need total replacement, and there's a big investment in those streets. This list that I'm passing this here is some of the streets that could be saved by maintaining those streets. And what we are recommending in this list is crack sealing and sealing the street. That would give us at least 5 years extra in those streets without having to replace totally the street. That doesn't mean that the rest of the streets that we have talked about before are going to be put aside. It's just the maintenance part of it. That list is what you have here. The criteria that we use to develop this list is what streets are the main collectors, the streets that they have the most traffic that we can save and extend the life of those. That's the list that you have there. Again, we are working on the whole picture that I gave you the last meeting and getting the numbers. Like Mr. Dillon mentioned, we're getting a course tomorrow being done in several of the streets. Banker, for instance, one of the high priority that you had. So we're going to come back to you and say, with the information that we got, this is what we are proposing to do here, and that would be probably the top priority in the list of full replacement. And if that's not possible, like in Banker, we talk about what's underground and all those things. Say, well, if we cannot replace all the utilities that we need to replace there, we can extend the life of that street by doing an overlay there, and it's going to last maybe another 5, 6 years, something like that. But we want to make sure, so we're investing a little bit of money in getting the testing done with this company, so we are more informed in making these decisions. So if you don't have any questions on this, that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
So, go ahead.
How many streets do you have in mind to chip and seal?
These are the top priorities. We have probably another 20 or something like that that we need to do with this kind of process. But right now we kind of focus on the high volume streets, and you can see the Target Range, Hohokam, the Western Avenue, kind of streets that were paved some years ago. And if we invest a little bit of money right now, we can extend the life of those streets, and also the benefit would be for the public in general, because it's the high-use streets that we have.
Alejandro, what kind of seal coat are we talking about here? Is this just like your fog seal, just an oil seal, or does it have, you know, substance to it?
Has it's a little it's a layer that goes on top that binds the solid, the gravel, the sands in the soil, and provides it's between 1/4 of an inch and 1/2 inch. It goes on top and kind of extend the life of that. And this has to be done once you crack seal the street. So what we're proposing here is the two things: go and seal all the cracks, and then come back and put that layer on top. It's something similar, not the same quality, but similar to what we're planning for Morley Avenue. That to seal the top of the asphalt that's there, because structurally it still has a good life for that asphalt. So we extend that structure, would give us a few more years on those streets.
Any input or questions from the council?
Is there money in the budget for this?
I don't, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, Councilman Diaz. The one step that hasn't been made yet is comparing this cost to the available monies in HERF. So whether or not we have enough money to do all of this, my gut is telling me that we probably do have enough to take care of all of this. But what that does in terms of operations or not, you know, I don't know. So we have to still go through that process and bring that forward. Alejandro, are these roads listed in any kind of priority order, or?
No, not really. We just selected the volume of traffic that we believe that they have, but there's no specific order in the list here.
So one step that we'll definitely do before pulling the trigger on this is prioritizing this list, because that'll help us. Because at the end of the day, if there's not enough money, then we want to make sure we're addressing the top priority first and working down the list. There's obviously other treatments to streets than what's being suggested here, but it all is on a case-by-case basis. Some roads you might want to do a chip seal on, but it would just completely be a waste of money because the road is deteriorated to a point that you're just throwing good money away. And so what I asked staff to do was to take a look at our road inventory and identify roads that are salvageable, right? Where, you know, they haven't gone so far off the chart that we couldn't do something like this, a chip seal, not a chip seal, but you know, sealing the cracks and doing an oil rejuvenation on top of the surface that would extend its life, you know, a given period of time. And so we don't want to throw good money away, and we want to make sure that it's being used in a way that benefits this community by way of protecting our infrastructure. There are some roads that we have, actually quite a few roads that we have, that are beyond the point where you put a chip seal on, it's going to have any value, because the very next year, all the cracks, all the blemishes are going to resurface, and it's because the base has been compromised. And so some of those roads, a good portion of them, need to be reconstructed from the base all the way up. And any of these treatments, it would just be throwing good money away. So that was the exercise that I had staff do based off of the list of roads that they provided you at the last meeting. And this is the results of that effort.
And the plans for this would be the beginning of the year, spring of next year?
Well, if we have the money available with these ones, we could probably start before the end of the year, because for the crack sealing, the winter time it's a good time to do it, because the cracks kind of open up and you can clean better and seal them. So, but I think probably one option that we have is probably select the priorities and do a group of streets this year, and then maybe during the springtime.
Is there a local company that does this?
There are some local companies, but because we're going through this GAOC process, we're kind of selecting, but they could apply for.
So they fall under the same program?
The companies that the city of Tucson and Pinal County have done a JOCs for, they do JOCs for this type of work.
Okay.
And so if we follow the JOC format, then we can expedite and get a contractor on board a lot quicker. Now, the reality of that is that if there are local contractors that have not opted to participate in the JOCs with the City of Tucson and Pinal County, they will not be included in that process for consideration. One of the things that I've asked staff to do, we're in kind of a crunch period right now with getting these roads taken care of, but we really ought to be developing our own JOC lists. Going through the selection process, giving contractors both, in the town and in the city and outside of the city an opportunity to compete, much like the City of Tucson did and Pinal County did. And when we have our own JOCs in place, then we don't have to utilize, another city's process. I prefer that. We just haven't had time to do that. It would have just delayed our efforts to get this stuff done.
Thank you, Mr. Dilly. Is there any more, Mr.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just two things. I think we've got to get started this year. I would hate to start next year because we've got too many, and I would like to see the list of the other 20. Sure. The other 20 streets, so we can be ready for it. I mean, and hopefully the overweight money will really start coming in.
Right.
And we can count on that. And again, the overpass downtown was never going to happen, so I think that's money that we can move here. And that was the number 2 thing. I do want to see that list of the other streets.
Sure.
And if anybody on the city council has a suggestion, maybe we can give them to you, and you can include that street in that list.
Sure.
Can you bring that list for the October 10th? Do you have it done already?
Or if you have it ready, put it in our
Or put it in the copy whenever.
Yeah, I would prefer that, if I can put that in your copy.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we have enough time to go through the whole process to the 10th.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Dilly.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I did want to just clarify that, when I've asked, like the Department of Transportation on the seasonal calendars for pavement preservation efforts, the winter time is an ideal time to do crack seal. That's when they contract all their work out to get crack seal done, is during the winter months, because those cracks open up and allow maintenance crews to get in there, blow them out, and then seal them really good. And I think that even the slurry or the seal coat, although there are certain parameters on that from a temperature standpoint, they are a lot more favorable and open up a bigger window of opportunity to do that even during the winter months than your standard paving project does. There are some parameters and constraints, but for the most part, it's a much bigger window to play in. So maybe not during December and January, but if we can get work done before that, and then if we can start work again in February and March, then I think we're making a lot of progress.
Thank you.
And addressing a lot of the roads that we're so concerned about.
Bryson, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Dilly, thank you.
You're welcome.
Item number 9, consideration possible action of order number 2012-101-071.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve order number 2012-10071.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Discussion?
Are there any questions about this contract?
Is there anything different, Mr. Dilly, than since in the past?
There is.
There is?
There is.
Could you please inform the council of what?
Marcel, please.
Marcel? You're hiding in the back, Mr. Marcel.
Got my bodyguard.
I can see it there.
Mayor, members of the council, there is one change to this memorandum of understanding. It's been in existence since 2003. That partnership that we have with Nogales, I guess it's the Main Street program, has been a good one. The big change has been, though, as of recent, even though they're back to normal hours, is they cut back their hours from 7 days a week of providing an attendant monitor for those restrooms. I think it was in July that they started. They cut back from 7 days a week to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And this contract just kind of notes that, or kind of highlights the fact that if they are not able to provide an attendant for those restrooms, we pretty much keep the doors closed. And that's the biggest change to this. The intent for them is to keep it open. Obviously, it's very advantageous and beneficial for all the 7 days a week, but I guess they had some funding issues, and so they had to cut back a little bit.
Mr. President, the funding for that, was part of it coming out from the, you know how they charge for that parking space? That's along the railroad tracks, the historic Main Street.
Correct.
Was some of that money from there being used for this? Do you know where the funding goes?
Mr. Mayor, my understanding is that they have leaned on the association, the business merchants and their
So
association.
where does the money from the parking lot goes? It goes to NCD, I know.
Well, but I don't think it goes into maintaining the restroom facilities. I think that's where the problem has really surfaced, is that we've been told or informed that some of the businesses have just pulled out of the deal. And so they dropped out, and so funding to keep those restrooms maintained 7 days a week wasn't possible for the downtown merchants. One of the reasons why staff is bringing this forward in this way is because we began to feel pressure from the downtown merchants that hey, we can't fund it, but there's still a need to keep them open. And we wanted to make it clear that there was a point in time in our history, probably since 2003, where the city just didn't have the means to maintain that restroom facility, and realized that it really is benefiting the local merchants. And in fact, if you go down and patron any of those merchants and you ask them to use a restroom, where are they going to point you? They're going to point you to the Placita. I've been there. I've done it. My kids love going down there to shop, and sometimes the little kid needs to use the restroom, and they point you out to the Placita. At the same time, though, they're not willing to to ante up and make it happen. And so we found that we were in this quandary, and it really isn't a situation the city should be in. And so we wanted to make it clearly stated in here that they're responsible to keep it maintained. We provide and furnish the supplies for it, but they staff it and maintain it. And if funding isn't in place, then we all recognize that it's not going to be open. That might present other issues for the businesses. But that, again, I think there are some that would argue that a business should have a restroom facility open to their customers. And we're not crossing that bridge. We're just making it known that the city's not going to be maintaining that thing if funding is in place.
So yes, Mr. President.
It's the restrooms, to keep them open, it's a benefit to us too, the city. We get our sales tax from the merchant. For the people that come and shop here to Nogales, Arizona, they need a restroom. The businesses don't have restrooms for the public because they're all businesses, they're all stores that have been here in Nogales for years. There wasn't no codes for that. No, so they didn't have them. So they had the city part, they had the bathrooms, that's what they depend on. But we depend heavily on the sales tax.
I've been told that there's even some businesses that don't have a restroom for their own employees. And all I'm saying is that as a business, they need to be concerned about that stuff. And they need to provide a restroom facility. There are some businesses that have restrooms and they let their employees, and I know this is the case, they let their employees use them, but they don't let the public use them. Well, I'm sorry, there's that situation, and apparently in 2003 there wasn't funding for it, and we made this switch. I can tell you today that our budget going into this fiscal year did not contemplate us maintaining that restroom facility. We haven't done it for the last 10 years, and we didn't plan on it this year. So,
but Mr. Gilly, we do supply the cleaning
we
supplies,
we do.
the toilet paper, and all that stuff there, which adds up to several $1,000s.
It's not an insignificant amount of money.
But water and everything.
Water, we don't charge them water, we don't charge them sewer.
Maintenance of the building.
So, we're already doing what I would consider more than our share in a situation like that. Right?
All they do is put a person there just to maintain the cleanliness.
Right.
Keep it. Yes, Vice Mayor.
Well, can we not have a meeting with them and discuss this and see what comes up?
For the
There's-
downtown merchants?
Yes.
Merchants?
Yes.
I'm sure
It is, now we haven't met with all of the downtown merchants, but certainly we've met with representatives of the Downtown Merchants Association. And it really comes down to the fact that they have an association that doesn't have any teeth. In other words, it's not like an HOA, right? I lived in an HOA in Queen Creek, and if I let the weeds grow up too high in my yard, I get a fine, and they can lien my house and my property and all sorts of stuff. That kind of association, unfortunately, is what's needed if you're going to have fixed cost tied to that. Maintaining common areas, things like that. I was downtown. I don't know if I was with you in Phoenix.
Yes.
And we saw a bunch of guys, cleaning guys, going around downtown Phoenix cleaning up. And I said, I asked the mayor, who do you think these guys work for? And they said, and the answer was the city.
The merchants.
Well, and I said, no. In fact, it's the Downtown Merchants Association, and if a business wants to be in those buildings, there's not a choice whether you pay or not. You pay that fee to benefit from being there and the beauty of that environment. So, unfortunately, they don't have teeth in this association, and there are a couple of businesses that have pulled out and not willing to pay. But I promise you, they're directing their people to that placita to use it, and that therein lies the real problem.
Members of the council?
No. I think downtown, as long as they have customers coming in, they'll be all right. So they just need to have customers there, right?
So how many days do you think it stays open, Marcel?
They're open right now, well,
What they say?
because of the increased presence of people downtown, obviously for the preparation of the movie, I know that they've already started opening up 7 days a week.
7 days.
And as long as they're there, I believe they will stay open.
Do you think they're gonna do the same thing for the holidays?
I would imagine so. I can't speak for them, but I want to guess.
Yeah. Do you have an idea how many people have dropped out of that association, Mr. Jimmy, or
I
is it 50-50 or something like that?
No.
Yes,
No.
Bill?
I agree with Vice Mayor. We should have a meeting with them.
With the merchants? Oh, we can have a meeting with them, and if we were have to
Throw all
have,
these questions to them.
to see if
We're
they-
assuming right now.
have you talked to them, Marcel?
The MOU actually points out two people, a contact for them and a contact for us. And then they kind of vet the agreement on their end.
That person talks for all of them?
Correct.
Yes, okay.
Correct.
And we have one person that talks to him.
And he agrees with this? I mean,
Yes, yes. the
So if he agrees with us-
NCD's Main Street
NCD
program, they tag their name to it, and they vetted this agreement, and
So that's basically, if they agree with it, it's something that probably, we can make a decision right now. Yes. Thank you, Marcel.
you're welcome.
Thank you very much. We have a second too.
Yeah.
Second motion? Yeah. Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yes, have it. Item number 10, consideration and possible action to sponsor the upcoming Seago Trade Conference in the amount not to exceed $500. Thank you very much. And members of the council, with this $500, it's going to be giving us an opportunity to have a booth ourselves in the city, and it's good that we all represent there, because there's going to be a lot of people from down south and people from Phoenix area, and hopefully from inside the state. This is going to be on the 9th, November the 9th.
This is going to be here?
Uh-huh. It's going to be here, it's going to be at the Americana, so it's very important for everybody to be able to attend this. It's our first annual, and this is being done by Seago, but in conjunction with the county and the city. We're both working on this.
We'll be taking the funding from the non-departmental.
All day long.
A whole day.
Non-departmental?
Mr. Mayor, members of
Yes,
council.
yes.
The funding will come from the non-departmental general supplies.
Yes. Thank you very much. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 11, I know that I put this, the discussion is on this, but what I really meant is a clarification. And this is about the court and police operations regarding the management of outstanding warrants, and about the city's actions regarding city council candidate Marcia Moreno. The reason I put this on the agenda is because I was in Phoenix on the conference when I got the call from City Hall. And there was a concern about this same issue that was presented to Mr. Dioley's office and Mr. Kissinger's office in reference to the candidate by some councilmen. And one of the things that I said, you know, how factual is it? And at that time when they told me this, that well, it was already in the hands of the police department. And one of the things that I know by experience in the past in the field of law enforcement, and I know how they work, and I've worked with the police department, is that when a police department identifies an issue or it's brought to their attention, naturally they have to take action. It doesn't matter who says what, they have to take action. And if it's brought to the attention of the city manager's office, or it's brought to the attention of deputy city manager, they have to take action. But my concerns is that this issue turned political. It turned political, and when it's political, we as elected officials, if we want to discuss something like this, or if you're concerned, is this person qualified to be a candidate, qualified to be a council member, qualified to be running for office, it's very easy to do. You call the leagues of cities and towns. You call the Secretary of State. You contact the city clerk. You contact Melinda Meek. They'll tell you exactly if they're qualified to do that. But at the point that it was brought to the attention of the administration, that was put in a different area. The light was different on this. And I'm very concerned on this, is because I've gotten calls, and today I got 5 calls, that people think it's my office doing it, that I did it, that it came from City Hall, that we're trying to go after one candidate and they're going to go, and it's not fair. You know, the best person wins the contest. It doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3 or how many candidates are running. The process that it was done, you know, the assumption of this whole thing, it's, you know, it wasn't done properly. You know, we all attended the League of Cities and Towns seminars. They explain these things to us. And when it's political, it's between us, here in the dais. When it's administrative, it belongs to them. So this was actually a political action that really, it spilled over in that area. And the only reason I wanted to put it here is because the media out there and some of these trashy airwaves that we have are saying this, that the City Hall is doing this to the candidate. No, the City Hall is not doing this to no candidate. You know, the City Hall is not doing this to no candidate. And you know, and if the people in the media want to ask questions, they can ask the questions to the council personally. And I said to myself that when I was going to talk about this item, there was going to be no questions asked about this item, because this is a clarification. This shouldn't have gotten to where it's at right now, because it was so simple. If I have an issue, if I think there's something political, I always pick up the phone and talk to the Leagues of Cities and Towns or Secretary of State. And you know what I did? I called to verify. Is there anything that says that one person that has citations, warrants, or misdemeanors, can they run for office? And they said, Mayor, yes, they can. They can run for office even if they pay it, they don't pay it, they take care of it, yes, they can run for office. The only time they cannot run for office, if it's a misdemeanor and they're convicted of the misdemeanor, the felony. That's the only time they cannot run for office. They have to be convicted of the felony. And yes, I've talked to the police department. I don't see the judge here, but I talked to them, and yes, there's a bunch of outstanding warrants out there. The city of Nogales has a process of going through that. But since it was brought to their attention they had to proceed in this action. And they were very professional the way they did it. It was very good. And I'm proud of you, Chief, the way you did your work. I'm proud of your department. And you know, in the past, I remember the judge would go, when I was in the police department, they would come to you and say, your sergeant would give you 5 warrants, and they say, this week, you serve these warrants. And we would go out hunting for people. I understand that's not done that anymore. They have a different process. They have the computers now. They have different ways of doing it. Matter of fact, they can't even run a plate unless the vehicle is present, because they have an audit system that makes sure that they're not doing this police department is not violating the rights of anybody. They did not violate the rights of this candidate. But I have to say it again, and I will repeat it again. This person has all the right to run for office if she wants to. She has the right to drop out of the office. She has the right to everything. But this does not stop her. A misdemeanor does not stop a person from running from office. It has to be a felony, convicted felon. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, can I say
Yes.
something?
Yes.
You're saying they're blaming on you. They're also calling me, and they're also blaming on me. So it's not they're blaming the city, they're blaming all of us.
Yes, but I understand, but it was brought to the attention of the city manager.
Yeah, if it was, yeah, but
But I mean,
even though.
what I'm saying is, it was so easy to call the leagues of cities and towns to find out if it was okay for this person to run.
Yeah, but
Because those people will tell you the
they're
truth.
blaming it on all of us.
I understand.
It's not only you.
The city hall,
It's, yeah, but
City
it's
Hall.
blaming on all of us.
the city hall,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Yes, Vice Mayor.
Well, they also blamed it on me, but you know what, sir? I'm a good loser. The people decided, I heard them, and I'm glad, I'm content. And I don't think it's fair that the newspaper goes out there and says that it might be one of my people that did it. I don't think that they would go that low. If this person wants to run, I agree with the mayor. She should run, why not? She worked for it, and I'm for it too.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you very much. Were you gonna say something, Mr. Henderson? You were, I caught you doing this before this. No?
Well,
I know
no,
that.
I just think much to do about nothing, right? I've talked to Ms. Moreno, right, and she feels very comfortable with the process. She paid her tickets, and I think, again, much to do about nothing. I think nothing should have come out anywhere, and that's it.
But
You know, it was-
the
it was
process,
small-
what I'm saying, Mr. Henderson, the process was that as an elected official, don't bring anything to Mr. Dilly, to Mr. Kissinger, or to the police department, because they have to take action.
Right.
If you want to know of the process, pick up the phone. The leagues of cities and towns will give you everything. Will give you all the information. Matter of fact, you won't even hang up the phone when they're giving you all the information. They have people over there very highly qualified. They tell you everything. And that's what I did. I made sure of that. Even though I already knew, but I made sure because people had questioned what I had said. I said, no, this person can run. And I said, no, yes, this person can run. And I said, okay. So I proved it, and it's true. And anybody can do that. But I just want to bring that out. And just for the media, if you want to write something, write that. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you very much on this item. Item number 12, executive session. Mr. Dilly, so this is something we're going to be going into executive session. So we have a motion. Motion to go into executive session. Thank you very much. Second. Thank you very much. We'll be going into executive session. Regular session. Mr. Hanesian, you want to get on to the debate or?
Having their own debates here.
Back to regular session from executive session. So we go to item 13. Is that what we do?
Right.
Okay. Consideration and possible action of order number 2012-10-072.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. We had enough discussion inside of executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Future agenda items. Members of the City Council, yes.
Yeah, well, Mr. Mayor, I would like to put a future agenda item on the flood control district. As I'm looking at my taxes, we paid quite a lot. Everybody in the city of Nogales pays quite a lot on the flood control district. What are we getting for it?
Okay,
And again, like I just mentioned, if we're gonna be paying for that bridge in Rio Rico, they should be named after the city of Nogales.
okay. After the mayor?
Or-
Did he say the city of Nogales or did he say the mayor?
After Octavio Garcia, yes.
Okay, well,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
It should be named after a former mayor who does not have a felony.
Oh, there you go.
Okay? I qualify for that.
There you go. There you go.
I know Mr. Minnesota had vote for that.
We're gonna be flipping on this. There you go.
Also, Mr. Dillon, just to find out from the county, how much does the city of Nogales pay the flood control district?
A lot.
I would say to the millions, and what are we getting for it? And again, I would like to get together with them for the Calle Veracruz and for Beck Street. If they don't want to do anything, then I suggest
Edwards.
we pull out.
Edwards.
And we pull out and do our own flood control district.
No.
We can always pull out.
Try.
We can always
to pay.
sue.
No, we cannot refuse to pay.
Problem is you can't refuse to pay, and you
Yeah.
can pull out, but you're still paying.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
We had it at one time, we did it at one time, it just seemed logical for them to do it, handle it. So we had it at one time, why can't we have it again?
But I think it'd be perfect discussion on this. I think it's about time we do this.
Yes,
Okay, anybody else with few agenda items?
but let the county know that this is coming up.
Mr. Diaz?
The class in comp, Mr. Dewey?
Comp class?
The what?
Comp and classification.
Classification.
All right.
Anybody else?
That's it.
No? Okay, Mr. Dilly, city manager's report, you have 3 minutes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, just a reminder, there is a special study session scheduled with you on next Wednesday. I will let you know that there's also an International City Managers Conference that happens across the country at different locations. It's been more than 10 years that it's been hosted in Phoenix. This year it's being hosted in Phoenix, and I plan to attend. I will not be here for that council meeting. But there's several items on that meeting for your consideration. Principally, that meeting was called to address the Walnut Street project. We were hoping to have presented it here tonight, but because of the way bids played out with Seago and some requirements, we had to delay a week. So that'll be brought in front of you at your next meeting. By way of an update, I just wanted to. I handed this out to you. I attended an ADOT meeting yesterday in Phoenix. The Transportation Board, which is a board appointed by the governor's office, met in Phoenix to discuss SR 189 and the improvements. I went to represent the city council and the mayor's office relative to the resolution that the council passed a month or two ago regarding SR 189. I think it went fairly well. I thought most of the board members responded favorably to the need to expedite that project in terms of construction and funding. And one of the things I used to communicate the urgency of that was this handout. If you notice how Arizona is faring in comparison to some of our competitors as it relates to capitalizing on our #1 trade partner, that being Mexico, it's a telling picture. We are literally flatlined down here at the bottom. You've got California the green and Texas the red. Both states easily outpacing Arizona, and there's absolutely no reason why that should be the case. Federal government is investing and infusing hundreds of millions of dollars in a new port of entry. The state of Arizona can get themselves kicked off center and put their resources where their money is, or where their mouth is, I'm sorry, and get some infrastructure up to speed. So that was basically the message that I relayed to them yesterday, and I think it went well. Soccer field is going well. We've got about $18,000 left in the budget. $19,000 it will take to fence it. So we'll find the $1,000 somewhere in our budget to get that done. We have a street that needs to be put in. We're looking at this point, just putting a big, hard, compacted base of millings with maybe a little bit of tack oil in there to kind of bind it together and roll it really good, just as an interim until next year when we can budget some kind of money to actually pave it. It won't be a lost amount of money on the millings because that will become a good base for the asphalt to go on top of
Can
it.
you use that also for the 2 parking lots up there, Mr. Joe?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So we're looking at that to just get something in place so that we can open that field up. It has been reseeded for the winter, and it seems to be going really well. Okay. I think outside of that, that'll conclude my. I'm sorry. One more thing. We did send about a month ago. Sorry. We did send about a month ago or 2 months ago now a list of items to the county for that joint meeting that has been often spoke about but never happened, right? One of those items is in fact the flood control district issue, okay? I think more appropriately, rather than spin our wheels here amongst ourselves, we really just need to push each of you individually, maybe call your favorite county supervisor, whoever that might be, and say, hey, let's get this meeting together, because now the ball's in their court. They have our list of items to discuss. It's just a matter of scheduling.
Okay.
Okay? Maybe that's the best avenue to address that particular issue.
We'll do that.
The date's gone, has been moved 4 times in the past year. So,
With that, I conclude my comments, Mayor.
all right, thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.